read to you now from the story about remember the Syrian general Naaman, who receives healing of his leprosy from the prophet Elisha, and it occurs because following Elisha's instructions, Naaman has gone to the Jordan River and dipped himself there, and is cleansed. So when Naaman returned from the Jordan River to Elisha, coming with his entire company, Naaman stood before Elisha and said, "Behold, now I know, there is no God in all the earth except the God in Israel. So please, accept a gift from your servant now." Elisha said, "As the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will take nothing." And even though Naaman urged him, Elisha refused. And Elisha said to him, "Go in peace." So Naaman departed and headed on his way. Now Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, thought to himself, "My master has spared this Naaman, the Aramean, by not receiving from his hands any gift. As the Lord lives, I'm going to go after him and get something from him." So Gehazi pursued Naaman, and when Naaman saw someone running after him, he personally came down from his chariot to greet him. "Is everything all right?" he said. And Gehazi answered, "Everything is fine, but my master has sent me to you, saying, 'Just now 2 young men from the sons of the prophets have come to me from the hill country of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of clothing.' Naaman said, 'Oh, please, I am happy to give you 2 talents. And he handed him 2 bound talents of silver in 2 bags, along with 2 changes of clothing, and gave them into the hands of 2 of his own servants, who had the job of carrying them before Gehazi. And so when they came to the hill where Elisha and the rest were staying, Gehazi took the gifts from the hands of Naaman's servants, secreted them in the house, and then sent those servants, on their way. And they departed. After this, Gehazi went in and stood before his master Elisha. And Elisha said to him, "Gehazi, what have you been up to?" And he said, "Nothing." Then Elisha said to him, "Did not my spirit go with you when that man turned from his own chariot to meet you? Is now the time to receive money and clothing and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and servants? Therefore, the leprosy of Naaman shall cleave to you and to your descendants forever." So Gehazi went out from Elisha's presence, a leper, as white as snow. So Gehazi, his motivation is complex. It's whatever greed is, right? There's that. There's also a little bit of that version of it that we know. You ever go out to eat with somebody and you're having lunch, and the server comes and they say, so you're I don't know, you're eating with a friend and your friend says you ordered a tuna on toast. And the server says, "Oh, well, what kind of soup do you want with that?" "It comes with soup." And your friend says, "Oh, I'm not really that hungry. I don't want any soup." And you go, "Well, if you're not going to have it, I'll take it." And so there's a little bit of that. Well, if he's not going to take it, I'll take it. That's what Gehazi's got going on. But there's also a touch of racism here. Because what Gehazi says is, he says, this Syrian, this Aramean got it for free. I'm going to see to it he pays. And there's this idea that somehow the things that as an Israelite, he deserves, right? He deserves the grace of God. He deserves the blessings. But these foreigners, they don't deserve it. If they're going to get it, they should have to pay for it. I deserve what's mine. I deserve what's mine. These other people, they don't deserve it. And there's another element too. And so here's a thing I should tell you is sort of helpful. There's a principle which is it's a way of looking at the scripture. It's got a fancy name. It's called form criticism. Here's what it means. It means that if there are stories that are the same kind of story, they follow the same plot points. You can actually lay them next to each other and see the plot points. So every miracle story follows a basic pattern. And that's just how storytelling works. And so we find in the Bible that there are stories like this. Like there's a story in the book of Genesis, I think it's chapters 19 and 20, right in there, that is parallel to a story found in Judges, which I think is in chapter 19 as well. And you can lay them next to each other and you see the same plot point. So it's very, very helpful because it helps you understand what they're really talking about. Because if you just read one of the stories alone, you tend to miss some of the emphasis. But when you read them together, when you sort of look at them side by side, you see that, oh, this is being emphasized. And so there is a parallel story for this one in 2 Kings. It's actually found in the book of Acts. We find a story about a husband and wife named Ananias and Sapphira. And the way the story goes is that at this time in the early church, it's we read that the Christians were like selling everything they have and giving it laying it at the feet of the apostles, and it was being distributed. Everyone's needs were being met, and the church was basically a giant commune. And so they were living lives of intentional poverty. You know, because Jesus said, the birds of the air have nests and the foxes have holes, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Jesus was basically he was a traveling preacher, but he was what's called a mendicant preacher. I mean, he had no possessions. And remember, Jesus said to a rich guy once, "Oh, here's what you're lacking. Sell everything you have, give it to the poor, and come follow me." And so the earliest Christians, they kind of did that. They said, oh, we're supposed to live that lifestyle of Jesus is the way to be a Christian. And so they sort of did this. And so Ananias and Sapphira, they sold some property, and they brought a portion of the money and laid it at the feet of the apostles. And apparently it was a nice chunk, it was a good piece of cash. But they told them that it was everything. We sold the property, we got this much for it, here you go. Aren't we great? Aren't we generous? And what we see is that the secret to understanding the story lies in the lie, in the, what's that they say about politicians? It's the cover-up that gets you. It's the cover-up. So Ananias and Sapphira try to cover up the truth of it. And so does Gehazi. They try to cover up the truth of it. And one of the things that happens in the Acts story, it's a very important line. Peter says, he says to Ananias, he says, it was your property. You could have done with it whatever you wanted. It would be totally okay for you to sell it and give a portion to the work of the church. So why are you lying about it? And this is the thing. This gives us the deal, because Gehazi goes and he gets this money, but then he hides it because he doesn't want anyone to know what the real story is for him with relationship to money. I mean, Elisha doesn't seem to be bothered by the fact that there's not a lot of money around. I mean, they wanted to build on. They didn't hire contractors. They just all went and cut some wood. Because, that was fine. They didn't have this agenda about accumulating possessions, so they had enough to live on, and they were fine. But Gehazi, he's not in that place. There's a piece of him that's like, I need more. I don't have enough. I don't feel safe. I don't feel like there's sufficient. Of course, it has nothing to do with any of us, right? That's what I hate about the Bible. It's always about us. Because aren't we like that? I mean, aren't we people who are constantly saying, I don't have enough? I don't have enough time, Lord. I'd really like to help, but I just don't have enough time. Have you seen my schedule? I'd like to give more, but I don't have enough. You should see my bills, right? That's what we do. We have this idea, and I've actually spoken to Christians where they said, I'd really like to give more, and my dream is to make more money so I can give more. You know what? We can give more without making more money. It's very complicated. When we talk about money, it makes us very nervous because we really like our money and we really like our stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that, but we're really like that. So let me tell you something about the Bible. The Bible is not anti-money, and it's not anti-possession as such. The story of the rich man, I mentioned him already. When we read that story in Luke, Luke uses a very particular word to describe this guy. And then he tells another story about another rich guy and uses the exact identical word to describe him. Only the second guy is a tax collector named Zacchaeus. And when Jesus says to Zacchaeus, hey, I'm going to have dinner at your house, and everyone kind of reacts to this, oh my goodness, you're a holy guy, you're a rabbi, what are you doing eating at the hands of a collaborator with the Romans, a tax collector? And Jesus doesn't even said anything yet, other than I'm going to have dinner with you, Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus immediately stands up and he's going to make his case. And his case is, I run a scrupulous business. Yes, I'm a tax collector, but I'm very scrupulous about it. I never charge anybody more than they're legally bound to pay. And if I ever do make a mistake, I provide hefty compensation following the strictest interpretation of the law. And not only that, I give half of everything I make to the poor. And Jesus just laughs and goes, salvation is visiting this man's house today because this guy too is a son of Abraham. This is what son of Abraham looks like. In other words, it's not about having money. Zacchaeus is a rich guy. He lives well. He's not denying himself. He's not in the example of some of the early Christians or the Franciscan monks who choose intentional poverty. I'm not arguing against that. By the way, there's a new monastic movement out there, which is a new kind of movement that's happening where people are trying to live basically lives of incredible simplicity and poverty so that they have more resources to help others. I'm not criticizing that. I think that's awesome. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that it's okay to have stuff. It's okay to live well. It's okay to be comfortable. It's okay to, it's not like Zacchaeus is lacking. But I want you to notice something about Zacchaeus. The difference between Zacchaeus and the rich man. The rich man cannot give up his money. And Zacchaeus just gives it up like crazy. He's totally content with giving it away. And so for Zacchaeus, it's not about having more. It's not about adding to his comfort. He's got enough. He doesn't need more. He's fine. He's content. There's nothing else to do. He just looks and I got all this money. I got to help people. And as a tax collector, he actually sees the need, probably better than most of the church-going folk who never see where the real poor people are living, what their struggles are. So he's helping. He's trying to make a difference. He sees what's wrong because his work takes him into those places, and now he's trying to make it better. That's the guy he is. And as a result, he's not invested in his own wealth. So whereas the rich man, his wealth clings to him like a disease, Zacchaeus, he's completely comfortable. Take it away. That's okay. We see the same attitude in Elisha. When Elisha asks Gehazi, is this really the time to be thinking about that stuff? What he's really saying is, we got enough. We don't need to worry about that. Why? And Gehazi wants everyone to think that he's, one of the crew, that he thinks that way too, but he doesn't. He's actually, he's fearful. He wants more because he doesn't believe that there's enough. He doesn't believe that there's sufficient. He doesn't believe that Naaman deserved to have a possession, but he believes he does. I deserve more. I deserve better. I deserve better. Just like those TV commercials. Get the credit you deserve. Right? Get the credit you deserve. Because you deserve it. This is, I think, highly descriptive of us. It really is. And that always bothers me because I like my... Albert Schweitzer said, if you own something that you can't give away, you don't own it. It owns you. I hate that saying. I have stuff that I'm not giving away. Now, there's some stuff I'd be like, sure, you can take that. But I do have things that, no, this is mine and you can't have it. I can say that in English and in French. Let me tell you. So it bothers me. And these are the things that cling to us. And so I don't entirely know the solution to the problem. I don't know the solution to how do we learn to not hold on so tightly? How do we loosen our grip on our stuff? I'm not entirely certain about that. I do know that one tool is generosity. The more you give, the less concerned you are about your own money. Because what happens is when you keep giving and you give more and more, and you find out, hey, I'm doing okay. I don't really need more. I mean, I can live well without, hoarding and without being in debt. I can do that. And when you do that, it helps. That's the only tool I know, but I know it's more than that. I know it's that it's really about a complete change of heart, a reorientation of mind. We got to move away from the stuff and the possessions of this world and began to think differently. Jesus said, "Where your, lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, because where your treasures are, that's where your heart is." We got to shift where our heart is. And so here's how I think we'll know when we get there. It's actually a line from a song by Sarah Bareilles, and it goes like this. So if we find ourselves, the day this becomes true for us, then we'll know we're there. She says, at the end of the day, the only words I'll say are, "I just want you."
Give me a heart to hold the God-like truth. Give me one good soul I can tell it through. Give me good reason to believe in you, and give me strength if you have time. Give me two hands that'll hold this up. You know you give me more than just enough. You gave a pair of brown eyes that could hold a good bluff, and somebody who thinks they shine. You, I just want you. I just want you. Spent most of my life on a microphone. Give it all back till I head back home. And when the lights go out and I'm all alone, I've got no reason to be crying. And on a bad day I feel like a masochinist. Take it all away from me if it's for the best. Somehow I've ended up ahead of this freight train that isn't mine. You, I just want you. I just want you. So take it all away if it isn't meant for me. I don't want the easy way. I just want you. They can give me everything, but at the end of the day, the only words I'll say is I just want you. It's all so simple when you break it all down. Two roads converged on a hollow ground. It's taken all of my life to hear the sacred sound of sweet simplicity, saying give it all back, it don't mean a thing. Got a short life lived and a song to sing. The only way up is believing in never looking down. So take it all away if it isn't meant for me. I don't want the easy way. I just want you. They can give me everything, but at the end of the day, the only words I'll say is I just want you. I just want you. I just want you.
Would you please join now in the prayer? I wish I could do more, but I just don't have enough. You see my monthly bills, Lord. It's a wonder I can keep up financially. You know my schedule, Lord. It's a wonder I have time to sleep, much less eat. Please send someone with money to give what is needed. Please send someone with time to do what is needed. That is what I tell myself, what I tell you. But I have as much time as anyone else, and I have more money than I need to live and live well. The truth is, I just want to spend my money and my time on myself. And deep down, I believe that it really is my money and my time, after all, and that those others aren't entitled to what I deserve. And this is why I will never be satisfied in my life. And this is why I will never believe that I have enough. And this is why all my possessions and my stuff will simply cling to me like a disease. And none of this will change until I finally say, I just want you. Lord Jesus, give me such a heart. Amen.